Hello everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be all about what therapists who make over $100,000 a year have in common, what they are doing to achieve that number, and how you can copy their blueprint to make the same amount for yourself. Now, I absolutely love conversations like this because I think it is fun to hear about financial transparency in different fields. And as I've said in so many videos, we are among the lowest paid master's degree holders out there. So it's really important to also hear the positive side of things because there are people who are making great money as therapists. And I personally have been so happy with the amount of money that I've been able to make as a therapist, and I would not trade this career for the world. So if you are someone who is interested in making $100,000 a year, I would highly recommend watching this video till the end because I'm going to be telling you the ins and outs of what this can look like for you. And it is actually 100% achievable. I know I personally have made great money as a therapist, and we hear a lot more negativity about the field than positivity. So I hope that you subscribe and stick around if you are new. My name is Allyssa Powers, and I created this YouTube channel to teach you the things that grad school didn't so you can thrive in the mental health field. And let me tell you, finances are definitely one of the things that grad school will not teach you about. I think I had one professor even bring up the idea of what our finances were going to look like after we graduated, and it was one of the last courses I ever took, so kind of too late at that point. You're in a little bit too deep. So if you are interested, I always have my NCE study guide linked in the description box. And I also just wanted to give everyone a little bit of background about what makes me so passionate about therapists making a good income and some of the things I'm going to be offering in the very near future. So if you've been around, you know I have been a therapist for the past 7 years. I am currently on an extended maternity leave, and I'm actually kind of shifting my focus to providing continuing education courses. So continuing education is something that is required for therapists. Every 2 years, you have to have a specific amount of hours, and then you have to submit that to your licensing board to renew your license. So CEs are almost like the MLMs of the therapy world. A lot of them are really skeezy, really low quality, or really great, but super expensive. And I am so excited to share that I am working on making a private practice building specific CE that is going to be offered through NBCC. So therapists, counselors, and social workers should be able to take it for credit. And it is going to be all about how to start a thriving private practice and make it look exactly how you want it to. So just know that I have been studying this stuff. I'm really passionate about it, and I just want other therapists to have a career that they absolutely love because I have been able to sustain that. And I see so many people burning out, and it is really, really sad. Okay, let's get into the rapid fire about how these high earners made it happen. The number one pretty much non-negotiable is that all of these people making over $100,000 were in private practice. The number two thing I saw is that none of them were using a venture capitalist company like BetterHelp, which is pretty self-explanatory as to why, but just know that all of them were in some form of private practice. Now, most high earners were in solo private practice accepting self-pay clients, but there are a bunch of different ways that this can look and you can still make six figures. So I would say most commonly you see people who are solo private practice and accepting self-pay. Then you see people who are solo private practice accepting a mix of self-pay and insurance, which is what I have done. And then you see people who are working in group practices and potentially accepting both insurance and self-pay. And then lastly, more rare, you see people who are working more traditional agency jobs, and then they are supplementing their income with a solo private practice or a group practice on the side. So you will see that many people who are in private practice really advocate for self-pay, which just means that your clients are paying out of pocket. They're not using insurance, but there are huge differences in what insurances are willing to pay based on the insurance company, as well as what state you are in. So just know that it's not like you only have to build a completely self-pay caseload to make good money. It's just the easier path a lot of times, because once you introduce insurance to your practice, you are basically taking on a ton of admin. You might have to hire a biller. You're gonna have to have an EHR system that does billing. You're gonna have to maybe have an extra company that like credentials you. There's a lot more that goes into it, but honestly, people can thrive with accepting insurance. And I know I accepted a lot of insurance in my private practice career. And while I probably will only accept self-pay in the future, now that I am more seasoned, it was a great way to make a good income. So just know that you are more than able to make this look however you want it to. And then the last thing to keep in mind is that lots of people in private practice are making over $100,000 because they live in really high cost of living areas. So if you live in a high cost of living area, the insurance is going to be reimbursing much higher, as well as self-pay rates are going to be higher. So that makes a really big difference in what your take home is going to look like. But if average cost of living is, $90,000 and you're making $100,000 a year, then you're really not making that much that you're able to then save or reinvest or do vacations or anything extra with. So keep in mind that it's really hard to compare numbers. Like, I live in a relatively low cost of living area in Ohio, and making $100,000 a year here is considered like really great. And maybe in, San Diego, for instance, in California, that would be like just barely getting by with what things cost out there. So keep it in mind that it's really hard to compare, but there actually are, I'll try and link this in the description box. There are maps you can look at that tell you the average self-pay rate per state. So Ohio is usually just like right in the middle, and then New York and California are on the higher end of things, but that can kind of help give you a semblance of what you could expect to charge. And of course, there are always going to be outliers. There are going to be people who are charging way more than that or way less than that. You get to choose as a private practice clinician. So I hope that this video was helpful.